सियावर रामचंद्र की जय. Shri Krishna Chandra Bhagavan ki jai. I'm checking in with all of you. How are you this evening? Long day or short day today? Long. Darshan had a long day today. Anyone else? Some of your days continuing. I see you at school or work. A seeker had shared with me, the days are long, but the years are short. A day seems very long, but those days go by so fast that the years appear short. So whenever you have a long day, try to remember this quote. I don't follow it, but I know the quote. All right. Now I'm checking in with Satishji. Satishji, I can begin formally?
Yes, Vivek, please go ahead.
Right on. Oh. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurudeva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hari Om and greetings from Niagara Falls. Speaking in a sacred setting like this is always lovely for me because I can share the divinity in details. Still, I am often invited to speak in secular settings, and that's enjoyable too, because it's lovely to see how the sacred bleeds into the secular. Now, the subject that I'm most often invited to speak on in secular environments is making sense of stress. And in these 60, 90-minute workshops, I share a framework that flows like symptom, source, solution. Symptom, source, solution. You tell me, what do you think the symptoms are of stress? For those who had a long day today, describe your day. What are the symptoms of stress? Anger, less smiling, tiredness, anxiety, distracted. See how quickly these answers came. This is experiential for us. Physically, it is tiredness. Mentally, it is frustration. Intellectually, it is dejection. Generally, the symptom for stress is failing. Your health fails, your decision-making fails. Agreed? Okay. That's the symptom. If there's a symptom, there has to be a source. What is the source of stress? Share that in the chat. Type it out. Please do not use anyone's name. Mismanaged expectations, comparison, not planning. This is all accurate, but not the most accurate. The most accurate is thoughts. If you have a stress thought, you're going to feel stress. If you don't have a stress thought, how can you feel stress? Agreed? More seriously, let's spin it to fear. If I never have a fear thought, I'm never going to feel fear. We know this every day when we go to sleep. No stress, no fear. That's why nobody wants to wake up. Because the stress and fear comes back. Fine. This is the symptom. This is the source. What is the solution? What is the solution to stress? See how quick we are with why stress, but not how we can deal with this. To plan and appreciate, to change your thoughts, to go for a walk, meaningful japa, slow down. These are all great responses. The answer is thinking. Thinking. Thoughts are unconscious. Thoughts are not deliberate. It's almost like they just happen. Whereas thinking is conscious. It is deliberate. You are making this happen. Our workshop is about thinking about thinking. This is what we're doing together. We're thinking about thinking. We're trying to change our thinking to be positive first. And that's a great beginning. But the fulfillment of positive thinking is peaceful thinking. This is how we go from being natural to being our nature. A few years ago, when I spoke at the Shri Venkateshwara Mandir in Pittsburgh, you were all there too. It was a gathering of the community. And the MCs, one of them is here right now, had introduced me. And as I was walking up to the stage, where they were sharing, this is Acharya Vivek, and Vivek is the one who knows how to discriminate. Now, this is being shared with the community, various religious minds that are over there. And as soon as I got to the podium, what our MCs meant to say was Vivek is the one who knows how to prioritize this interfaith program. He's the most discriminating. See the practicality of prioritizing. Prioritizing the positive thoughts, prioritizing the peaceful thoughts. You will know that you're working in this workshop if you're feeling more secure. Always come back to that. Are you feeling more secure? It is a lie. You're lying to yourself if you feel insecure, yet are studying infinity. One first has to feel secure to be able to feel infinite. Right thinking leads to the right feeling, and we are fortunate that we have endless icons of right thinking and right feeling. In our workshop, we're focusing on Bhagavan Krishna and Bhagavan Rama. Bhagavan Krishna's life and teachings are shared through Srimad Bhagavatam. This is known as a Purana. Purana means Pura Eva Nava. In English, that which is ancient yet applicable. Ancient yet applicable. Quite often, that which is ancient is not applicable, or that which is applicable today will not last tomorrow. But what is shared in a Purana is ancient, of course, but it is applicable. More specifically, the vision of a Purana is to be educational. Educational. There's lots that we have experienced in our lives that is educational. Nursery rhymes, Akbar and Birbal, you know, their dialogue. That is also educational. As for Sri Rama, his life and teachings are documented in Sri Ramayana, which is known as a itihasa. Itihasa. The etymology of this word is iti ha asa, which means thus has happened. There's many interpretations of this. Thus has happened, okay? The emphasis I'm trying to make with the Ramayana, this is factual. Bhagavatam, a Purana, is educational. Ramayana, which is a itihasa, is factual. And what's so beautiful about this is that we have access to both. What's not beautiful about this is we've become very logical in our thinking, where we tend not to have faith in that which is educational. That's why I'm complementing that which is educational with that which is factual. We are going on a journey from our nature to feeling unnatural, to feeling natural, to our nature. This journey has begun in a hut. We're sitting with Sri Krishna, and we see this thunderstorm that is covering the light of the sun. And what we've reflected upon is that the qualities cover infinity, as if cover infinity in the same way. And how we can live this reflection is to appreciate. Appreciate the magnitude, the grandeur of living. How, if you got a cut a week ago and you're generally healthy, that's already healed. There's so much infinitude we experience on a regular basis. We only have to appreciate it. Then we shift over to a cave. Sri Rama and us, we're looking out, and we see that raindrop that hits the earth and becomes muddy and fast. And what we can learn from this reflection is that when we leave our nature, we start projecting that our nature is different. I am this body, I am this popularity. And what we can practice from this is to plan. To plan our day, to plan our month, our year. I believe it's Malcolm X who has shared, if you don't stand up for something, you fall for everything. Those who do not have a plan, they're always falling. We come back to our hut, and we're all looking at this intense rain. And in some fields, it's helping the field. In some fields, it's harming the field. And the farmers and the owners are feeling pride and dejection. And what we can learn from this is we have to insulate ourselves. Insulate ourselves from the ever-changing results. If you try your hardest for everyone to like you, what's going to happen? People are going to say you work too hard. People are going to say that you're trying too hard, correct? It's impossible. You will know that you're insulating yourself from results, expectations, etc., when you start to feel JOMO. JOMO means the joy of missing out. I have that joy. I don't need the joy that is being pursued externally. We're back to our cave, and it's nighttime. And what do we see? A group of fireflies that keep flashing as if they're this great light source. And Sri Rama is teaching us that hypocrites are the same way. In Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Shri Krishna uses this word in chapter 3. He calls them mityacharaha. Those who think in one way but act in another way, they are hypocrites. Then it's almost like he tightens this tough love. Shortly after, he describes such people as stena. Do you all know what stena means? It means a thief. And whenever we think of thief, we think externally, they're stealing from themselves. How? Compromising on ideals. And then he tightens this tough love more. He calls such people as mogha. Mogha means they're vain. Their life is in vain. Understanding and appreciating this danger, our practice, choose. Choose the people you associate with wisely. Choose where you gather information wisely. There's biased media, there's sort of unbiased media. Choose the right community. I always describe our community as a community that is coming to unity. Why do we gather? We gather for oneness. Choose such communities, such people. We continue on our journey. You have to visualize you're sitting in a hut. Can you smell the manure? Can you smell the hay? Can you smell the earth? Can you hear the rain? Some of that drizzle is falling on you. You see how beautiful Shri Krishna is. His eyes are glowing, his teeth are shining. And as we're looking at Shri Krishna, he and everyone is looking out. And what do they see? I've already shared the section and I've already shared the chapter. This is verse 37. Naiva vidan chiyamanam jalam gada jale charaha yatha yuran vaham chayam naramuraf kutumbinaha. What is happening? Shri Krishna and we see that the rains are coming to an end. Summer is shifting to autumn. And so the pools of water on the earth are evaporating. And there are some fish who are living in this shallow water, and they keep splashing around, reducing that water, not realizing that eventually they're going to suffocate. And now the learning from this, how does this apply to us? Some people are the same way. That they go about living their lives worrying about smallness. The specific word that's used here is family, without understanding and appreciating that their lifespan is shrinking, that their opportunities are disappearing. Why I've shared this in our journey. We are trying to feel complete, so we try to do this through results. That didn't work. So we try to do this with those who are living a flashy lifestyle. That didn't work either. When we keep getting kicked and punched by the world, we should be more careful then. We should inquire more about, what am I doing? Where am I going? Philosophically, what Vedanta shares about where we're living. This world is called Martya Loka. Do you all know what Martya means? This is a dimension where everyone is dying. Some have described this as the underworld. Sure, that works also. But technically, it is this dimension where all are dying. This is very different than Devaloka. In Devaloka, nobody gets old. Nobody dies. Devaloka is like Las Vegas, correct? Bright lights, fresh oxygen, lots of surgeries going on. So everyone is dying. Now, even before I get into the practicality, if all of us know that at the end of tomorrow's workshop, we're going to die, factually die, this body, what are you going to do for the next 24 hours? Are you going to go to the bank and make a deposit? Are you going to mow your lawn? You're going to be tired of doing that which is not important. Now, my lifespan is evaporating. I have to do that which is most important. Like continue to be part of the workshop, correct? That's what Raja Parikshita did. He was given 1 week. What did he do? Left all of that and went to nature, correct? And his intensity was so strong that the best of the best teachers came to him in nature. Many may be thinking, though, I'm too far from living with God. I'm too far from being enlightened. What is great about Sanatana Dharma in terms of our evolution, it is not a all or none scenario. It is not. Which means, however evolved you become in this lifetime, towards God, towards your nature, when this body dies, the mind is going to continue in a fresh body with that evolution towards God, towards nature. So work hard and smart now. The last verse of the Sthita Prajna Lakshanas, this is in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, Shri Krishna shares, if one realizes Brahman with their last breath, that is still the realization of Brahman. This is not all or none. So work hard and smart, however old you are, in whatever condition. It is unfortunate that in our culture now, whenever one thinks of evolution and living for God or enlightenment, what age does this start? For many now, it's when they become 60, their grandparents. For those who know more about our culture, when should this start? When you're 6. At 6 years old, parents take their children to the Gurukula. In modern day Gurukulas, the parents live with the children. Back in the day, you left your children there. It's training not just for the children to be independent, but the parents also. That is the one teaching that parents do not teach their children. How children should become independent of their parents also. Agreed? We just do not teach. Forget about our children. We really don't teach anyone to become independent of us because it makes us feel good. That person depends on me and that person depends on me. That is not healthy. Our culture is not about all or none. You start evolving right here, right now. Your practice is utilize. That's the fifth verb that I've given to you, all in English. Utilize. Utilize every opportunity, every experience to grow so that you're not that fish that's going to suffocate, that human that is going to die in a meaningless way. What is very evident from Bhagavatam and Ramayana, that Shri Krishna and Shri Rama never wasted time. If this was us and it was the rainy season, we would hibernate, no? We would become like bears. But they never wasted time. They were always discussing how to be better. A recent observation I shared with everyone. Those who waste time are controlled by time. Those who don't waste time are the ones who control time. It is very counterintuitive, but once you experience this, what I'm sharing will make more sense. From our hut to our cave. This is the sixth point in our journey. Everyone's flowing with this journey. I've forgotten my nature. I start to project my nature as incompleteness. I try to find completeness through results. That doesn't work. So I try to find completeness through people who as if are complete because of their results. Hypocrites, the fireflies. Being tired of all of this, I realize this body is dying. My opportunities are dying if I don't live in a careful, vigilant way. So what do I have to do? Utilize every experience, every opportunity to be natural, to be my nature. Coming back to Ramayana, we are in the 15th section of Chopais, and I'm reading the 6th Chopai. It is the last line. Chopai in English would be verse. Jaha taha rahe patik takinana, jimi indriya gana upaje jnana. What Sri Rama sees as he and Sri Lakshmana are sitting in the cave, and you're there too, that there's lots of travelers who have tried to travel through this rainy season, but they've become tired. And so now they've chosen to rest and not travel. And how one can learn from this, when one starts to invoke knowledge, their senses start to rest. Their senses become quiet. These are really incredible comparisons. In our Shastras, every stage of life is given a specific training. And what I'm about to share, I feel like most of you, this would be new. So make sure you write it down, at least mentally note it. From the age 0 to 23, one samyama. Samyama means training. What they should be developing is vrata. It's known as vrata samyama, which means one should be trained in commitment. This is the discipline that they should have in their life. Do you feel those between the age of 0 and 23 are trained in this? With society moving so fast, everyone's become a jack of all trades and a master of none, correct? That commitment is not there. From the age 24 to 47, the samyama is kriya. Kriya Samyama, which means to be trained in responsibilities. And see how that's only possible if you've already been trained in commitment. I've been sharing a lot with our Yuvekendra and Setukaris, and Sheila and I have daily conversations about this. Between the age of around 30 to 45, it's like all those who were in Chinmay Mission earlier than this just disappear. And then they come back when they're 45 and 50, when during this age, one should be more responsible, but they're just disappearing. And Pittsburgh is a medium-sized center, so you may see this. I work with many centers, small, medium, and large, and this is a fact. And it's very hard to accept that because so much is invested into our Balavar students, into our high school students, and then they disappear. That's why what is taught in Bhagavatam and Ramayana has to come out. This is how society will not just survive, but thrive. Okay. The third stage of life is 48 to 59. And the samyama during this time is seva. One's training, one's discipline should be in serving. That means not your family. Really, one should be moving beyond their community also to society. That's what one should be doing in this stage. And finally, from 60 to, let's say, 72. Every year that you're older than 72, treat that like a bonus. The samyama is towards Indriya. So that's a long way for me to share what is shared in Ramayana. One's training should be in disciplining one's senses. Now, please remember, it's not, okay, vrata done, now give that up. Now focus on kriya. It's a build-up. All of this is a build-up to being disciplined with one's senses. Transitioning to our philosophy, to our practice. But before I do that, how are you all doing with this training? By a physical show of hands, how many of you feel that you have checked off vrata samyama? You would be described as a committed personality. By show of hands? Good. You would be described as a responsible personality. Kriya samyama. How some of you are giggling. How come you're giggling? I'm asking you a serious question right now. Okay. The third, seva samyama. Okay. Indriya samyama. I see one hand up, two hands up. A lot of attrition, correct? Okay. In our Upanishad course yesterday, I was sharing the purpose of Vedanta is to bring closure to dukkha nivrittihi and sukha praptihi, which in English means the two reasons why we do anything are to escape pain, that's dukkha nivrittihi, and to embrace peace, that is sukha praptihi. This particular verse is teaching us that with knowledge, one's senses become quiet. In other words, with knowledge, you stop escaping pain because you know it doesn't work. That there's a higher reason in life that escaping pain is not the same as peace. So it's almost like you shift into this more advanced mode of living. So dukkha nivritti is closed. We stop escaping through our senses. That's what people do, no? During the present challenge in terms of the coronavirus, sadly, just in Canada, there have been many-fold more opioid-related poisonings and deaths. And I'm sure it's even more, it's exponentially more in America. Because people are trying to find that escape from pain through their senses, but it doesn't work. This is how our journey should be feeling right now. And specifically, here is our practice. Direct. You direct the senses rather than the senses directing you. You direct the senses. Later on in Ramayana, it's during the Vibhishana Gita. Shri Rama describes all of his arrows as yamas and niyamas, which are the don'ts and the do's. The yamas and niyamas are directing the senses. So all of this is tightly tied together. And a fine gauge for everyone. After you watch a show on Netflix or Disney Plus, and then it says, next episode starting in 3 seconds. Do you have enough energy to stop that? If the answer is yes, you are directing the senses. But if you don't have enough energy to stop that, your senses are directing you. Our practices: appreciate, plan, insulate, choose, and now 2 more points in our journey, which are to utilize and direct. Oh. We continue to dynamics. Dynamics on day 1 was feeling life. 10 years in the past, 10 years in the future. Dynamics yesterday was a self-development program. Today, everyone substituted. Yes? Yes? I don't know why you're all laughing. Here's what we're going to do now. One of the gauges of a great mind is a mind that is reflective. And what a reflective mind does is it associates. See how Sri Krishna and Sri Rama have associated so much in nature to self-development. Here's what you're going to do now. I'm going to share a word. Then you are going to be given 1 minute, and you have to get out of the room you're sitting in. I know many of the rooms you're sitting in. I've stayed in those rooms too. You have to get out of the room you're sitting in, and you have to find something in your house that is associated with that word. This may be unclear to some of you. So for Vivek, if you had asked me, suppose the word is plan. What would I do? I would go get my planner. Yes? That's a very boring example, but you get my point, correct? You have to leave your room. That's why your cameras are on. I can see who's leaving and who's not. Some of you just duck underneath. Okay, here is your first word. Insulate. Your 1 minute starts now. Get up and go get something in your house that is associated with insulating. Insulate. Go, 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 go. And then come back and show me. Show everyone. Sujana, you have a blanket, I think. Yes? Satish and Visala, are those pillows? Ganesh is getting married. I thought he was already married, but maybe he's getting married again. All of you. Does anyone have anything that's not a blanket or a pillow? or a jacket. Jacket, you have tinfoil. Please type it in the chat what you have and why you brought it. Type it in the chat. Charuji, you have a cord, yes? That's a great association. All of our cords, our electrical cords, are insulated, as an example. A thermos, yes, to keep water warm. An iPhone, please explain how an iPhone insulates me from the rest of the world. I never have to leave my leave my room. The wall, there's insulation in the wall. Okay, good. Everyone knows what they're doing now. Surikant wrote, to keep away from my iPhone. That's his, that's his insulation. Okay, next, appreciate. Go, 1 minute. Go find an icon that is associated with appreciation. Appreciation. I see a card. I see a child. I see icons of Bhagwan. Yes, I don't know what you have, Visalaji. Type in the chat what you have. I think it's similar icons. Saloniji has a book. Hemaji has a shot glass. Yes, you appreciate what's in that shot glass. I see lots of icons of Bhagwan, a painting. Okay, flowers, medicines. Yes. Amarjyotiji, please type in the chat. Is that a vegetable, a tomato? Type in the chat if you can. A greeting card from Sureshji. Triptaji, that's your family. Right on. Domya, PS5. Stricken from the record. That does not count. Okay, next. How about we go with utilize? Utilize. Utilize glasses. Yes, Padminiji, that's a good one. Sharmaji's pointing to his head. I utilize my brain. Saraswati, what do you have over there? Scissors. Yes, so a computer. Geetaji, your notes. Sheila, a spatula. A coronavirus mask. Yes, Archanaji. Dhruv, a measuring tape. Yes, that is your profession. That makes sense. Windex. Anyone else? Something very creative. A highlighter, a planner, a music book, string, plants. Okay, next. Ravana. Don't point to the person next to you. Ravana. If you don't know who Ravana is, then desire, okay? Find an icon in your home that will remind you of Ravana, desire. I see a lot of cell phones coming out right now, or a TV control. Jagriti, hair. Please share in the chat why you've chosen hair as Ravana. Amarjyotiji, oh, that looks like spices of some sort. Anyone else? Share in the chat. Food, yes, Dharmarajanji, for sure. Covering the true self. That is a deep. Chili pickle. Yes, Imaji, and you made it. Yes? Are those Cheetos? Padminiji, they look like some sort of, jalapeno chips. Dhruv jewelry. Okay. So what are the words that I've given you? What was the first one? What was the first word I gave you? Insulate, then appreciate, then utilize, then Ravana. Your last one, for the sake of time, future. Future. Find something in your home that you will associate with the future. You're also lazy. See, the first one, you all jumped out of your chairs. Now you're just finding things near your couch. All of you are just showing me books, which I'm happy about. So it seems like Visalaji is going to become Acharya Shankara and Ganesh is going to become Bhagwan Krishna. Pushpaji is also going to become Acharya Shankara. Amarjyoti ji is going to become Swami Chinmayananda. Good luck, everyone. Those are really high expectations. Saraswati, what is that? A pillow? That's your future. I see Lord Krishna's chariot. I see Bhagwan over in different places. Padmini ji, I thought that was a gun, but it's actually a sitar. You are in Indiana, so who knows? Okay, great. The vision of our first dynamics was to think about our lives in a big picture. Yesterday was to make this a micro picture. The vision of today's dynamics is that if you want the small picture to lead to the big picture, you have to do this every day. That's why these things are in your home, correct? I didn't show you my bookmark. I didn't show you my phone. You have to associate this with what's in your home to be reminded every day to be natural, to be your nature. Clear? Okay. Any questions? I have an important meeting at 9 o'clock, so we're going to have to finish a little bit sooner today. If anyone has any questions, you can virtually put your hand up. I'm counting. 3, 2, 1. Fine. We continue to your RAD, your reflection adventure of the day. How many of you tried this? To use the phrase, don't worry, be happy in 8 conversations. Can I see your hands? Okay. Whoever tried this, put your hand up so I can see. Okay. For those who tried, how was your experience? Share in the chat. What were those conversations like? It was fun. It was light. It was comforting. You told yourself. I needed it the most, so I told myself. The person got annoyed. I was just going to ask, did you have any pushback from this? A serious conversation turned light. It gave me confidence and inspired others. The 2 practices from yesterday were insulate and choose. Don't worry is you practicing insulate. Our worries tend to be about vipala, expectations, results, future. Don't worry. The be happy is a choice, correct? Right now, there's a thunderstorm outside. Everyone has a choice to be happy about this or sad about this, correct? Just think of this financially in terms of the coronavirus. Some are very happy about the coronavirus. Some, financially, okay? I'm not spinning this to be positive, but the pharmaceutical companies, they're helping society, yes. Whereas others, like the school system, it's so difficult to facilitate school virtually. We have a choice to make in terms of be happy. Try to do this regularly. Initially, people will be annoyed by it, but eventually they too will embrace this. Who doesn't want to live like this? I remember in business school, we learned anything you want to bring about in your life or your personality, you should use those words more often. So we should use words like harmony and sharing and generosity instead of critical words, comparing, better, worse. Here is your RAD for today. you have to document 2 reflections from nature. Shri Krishna has given us 38, I believe, and Shri Rama 42, a total of 80. We've navigated 6 of those. You have to come up with 2 original reflections from nature, which means you see nature, but the point is, what can you learn from that? Clear? And what would be so cool if all of the seekers came together and shared those, and it's almost like a book can be made from this, right? This is what Roli learned, and this is what Sirisha learned, and this is what Suresh learned. That would be a very cool project for just us in general. Announcements. Yesterday, I shared with all of you that I've been teaching Bhagavad Gita in the morning from 7:45 a.m. to 8 a.m. And I was quite happy to see seekers who have not been part of Meaningful Mornings who started to become part of Meaningful Mornings. And you're lucky, we're only in chapter 3. We still have 15 chapters to go. This evening's announcement. Tell me in English what the word dakshina means. Share in the chat what the word dakshina means in English. Offering gratitude, showing gratitude, offering. The word is gratitude. Gratitude. Whenever one feels authentic and deep gratitude, whenever you feel authentic and deep gratitude, what happens to you? What happens to you when you feel authentically and deeply grateful? What happens? You feel humble. You're humbled. These are good responses. Today, I went to visit a mission member who is terminally ill. In March, he was told that he would only live 6 months. September puts him at 6 months. And when Sheila and I went to visit him and his wife today, then he was sharing some of the challenges that are developing for him is that he has very little energy, and he often becomes breathless. Can you all think of the last time you were breathless? It would be hard for us unless you have asthma or you've been running in an intense way. It's hard to imagine that, but imagine that. And then you got that breath. How you would do anything for more of that. Dakshina means gratitude. Dana means generosity. If one is authentically and deeply grateful, they cannot stop themselves from being generous. I'm very happy that Chinmay Mission Pittsburgh, the first time I got to meet all of you, be with all of you, I think was in 2010, I think. And we had a camp at Chinmaya Sanjeevani. And there's so many kids there that we were literally just overflowing into the parking lot. It was like India style. Some eating over here, some teaching over there. And now so much growth has happened in the Pittsburgh community from having 2 more teaching centers and now 1 more physical center, that is Chinmaya Amarnath. All of the generosity you have an opportunity to now express. Half of the dakshina will go towards Chinmaya Amarnath. And it would be great the next time we have a program together, instead of this being virtual, if it's actually at our physical center. And half of the dakshina will go to Cord, USA, specifically to Siddhabari. Siddhabari is in Himachal Pradesh. Many of you would be reading and keeping up with how the rains and landslides have really devastated Himachal Pradesh. And I don't know if you've been there before or not. I lived there for 7 weeks. most of the income earners are the Devis in Himachal Pradesh. Many of the Devas are alcoholics, and they do not treat their wives well. And I don't need to describe that to you. We all know this through our studies, scientific studies, sociological studies. So this would become all the worse during the coronavirus. We all know that domestic violence has grown in Canada and America. Certainly this would be the case in Bharat also. And the less education, I feel the more violence there would be. So last year, the community that I am working with, we raised $33,333 for 3 women's shelters in Niagara. And this really happened fast because everyone felt so grateful for their own opportunity that they were generous towards facilitating the same for others. This year, the aspiration is to raise $40,001. And offering that to everyone needs this, but our sentiment is that our Devis need this more. So half of the dakshina you offer will go towards this campaign. We're describing this as elevate her story. The link has been shared in the chat. The dakshina will be facilitated by Chinmay Mission Pittsburgh. And as I shared, half will continue on with Pittsburgh and half will be directed towards our Devis in Siddhabari. If you have any questions, you have any sentiments about this, then you can email Chinmay Mission Pittsburgh, our organizers. And my final thought, thinking about Chinmay Amarnath again, all of you who are living in Pittsburgh or part of the Chinmay Mission Pittsburgh Center are bhagya or fortunate to have Shankarji and Sumanji there. I know the training that they've gone through because I've gone through the same. I know the seva that they're engaged in within their family responsibilities because I'm doing the same too. And with so much growth within Chinmay Mission Pittsburgh, when growth is not guided, it starts to become inefficient. In a physical sense, it becomes cancerous, correct? When growth is unguided. So all of you are fortunate to have such guides at your regular disposal is the wrong word, but regular relationship. There's so many in other centers that I know looking around who don't have such access. And you have 2. And I also am appreciative of them because they support the work that I do significantly. I can always depend on them. Coming back to today's host is actually Sureshji. Sureshji, anything you wanted to ask or share with everyone before we finish tonight?
No, thank you, Vivekji. And we'll just meet at the same time tomorrow.
Yes. 24 hours to live. Be like Raja Parikshita. Continue on with the workshop. Om sarve bhavantu sukinaha, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om shanti shanti shantihi. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Be safe, be sound, be serene, be happiness.